All right, we're good to go. Our topic today, as we can see, to speak about Olympic weightlifting inside of athletic training. I work in Olympic weightlifting for a long time, was professional lifter, now work in the Tiguar team already for 10 years. We do together business, teaching coaches worldwide and doing seminars. Also, I do commentary for major competition as European World Championship and work in fitness for a long time. What I see from my practice as a coach, because I coach people like amateur, pro and some big names as well, I had this experience. I see that Olympic lifts or used a lot and not by purpose, or a lot of coaches just don't understand what is this and they think that it can hurt your back, and this is why they avoid this. So my goal now to show you that this is very cool for all of us. So just in case, what is Olympic weightlifting? It's only two exercises. It's snatch, or we call in Polish it's rwanie, and clean and jerk in Polish is pudsov. So biceps, deadlift, it's not Olympic weightlifting. Of course, we use variation of these exercises, but as a sport, the goal to lift as more weights as possible, and this is why we do Olympic weightlifting. And this is not the way how you should it use in athletic training, in strength and conditioning. Just brief history, maybe you don't know, but the first sport of Arnold Schwarzenegger was Olympic weightlifting. A lot of big names use Olympic weightlifting in their strength and conditioning preparation. For example, as Alexander Usyk or Mr. Ibrahimovic. This video became viral this year when professional soccer, legendary soccer, made clean and jerk 120 kilos with pretty good technique, and this is impressive. Why? We believe that Olympic weightlifting is a good tool for athletic training, because maybe you can see here that there is a one position
when we load our legs and we are ready to act. And from this position we can produce power, action and speed required in a lot of sports. And if we will compare this to Olympic weightlifting, we can see that probably weightlifters are one of the best who can produce huge amount of power from this position. This is why it is good idea to take some elements of their training to improve our power. And what is power? It's force that we can apply it as fast as possible. And during my presentation, I will share with you not only my opinion as a coach. Most of the statements and data will be science-based. As an example, during this presentation, I will show you a lot of video of elite athletes doing Olympic lifts. And here we can see that this is Netherlands five-time Olympic champion doing heavy clean in his preparation. And it's not just for fun, it's because it helps him to improve. The goal of using Olympic lifts is to produce the power. Why Olympic weightlifting works good for strength and conditioning? Because according to numerous researches, Olympic weightlifting can produce high rate of force development and high power output. And this is what we need in a lot of sport, when we need ground reaction, speed and performance. Here as an example we can see comparison of the action that athlete can do in a lot of contact sport when he react with his rival, and movement that we can produce doing some variation of Olympic lifts. Also, this is a very famous picture from social media, and it's not just a picture, it's science-based, and we can see that power output in very famous basic strength exercises is very different. And if we will compare bench press, deadlift and squat in power output, for example, with the classic weightlifting clean pull, when we try to accelerate the bar and make it fly, we can see that Olympic lifts produce way more power using the same amount of weight, same amount of load, reps and sets. Using Olympic weightlifting in strength and conditioning, it's never about the weight. It's about speed of force, how fast we can execute movement with the optimal weight for this athlete. And this I will explain right now. For example, we can see here triple jumper doing a lot of variation of Olympic lifts. And this is not because he wants to be strong, this is to be able to produce huge amount of power during his competitive efficiency. Speaking about the smart approach of using Olympic lifts, for example, four-time world champion from Germany, she is doing power clean, very famous exercise in athletic training, but what we can see here, that she is doing it not from the floor, she is doing it from the hang position, let's say mid-thigh, middle of your hip. And this is one of the most important data that strength and conditioning coaches need to pick up, that for most athletes, we don't need lift the weight from the floor. We just don't need it because, of course, we need to learn this technique, and that is why athletic position, as I said earlier, way more beneficial for athletic training. Why? Because this mid-thigh position, when we hold a bar here, according to numerous researchers, is way stronger position from the perspective of power production. It gives us maximum force output, and also it has less technical limitation, because for tall athlete, for example, it's so difficult to go too low and lift bar from here, from the floor. It's not a problem, but just I'm telling you what is more efficient. For example, quick data, a lot of letters, maybe you don't need everything. What you need to see here right now: power clean, you know this exercise, back squat, deadlift. You know this exercise, right? What we can see looking at this exercise is that rate of force development is quite good. But if we will compare these three with the exercises that we do from the athletic position, we can see that the rate of force development is way higher, minimum 2 times. Why? Because researchers tell us that we have maximum force production and strongest position for athletes, not for Olympic weightlifting, for athletes. So just as a comparison, Alexei Tarahty, Olympic champion, doing almost the same exercise, power clean from the floor and mid-thigh power clean when he hold and explode from this position. Once again, power clean 8,000 Newton, mid-thigh power clean 15,000 Newton. With the same weight, with the same number of reps, with the same number of sets, you will be able to load your athletes more efficient and train them faster. Same we can see if we compare deadlift and isometric mid-thigh pull. Everyone knows this exercise. You can do it with the bar, you can do it with the trap bar, but if we will compare with the exercise when we hold bar for some period of time in mid-thigh and then explode, once again with the same load, it will be way more efficient. Big question: when it's smart to use Olympic weightlifting, when it's not in strength and conditioning. I'll tell you because I have this practice a lot. It makes sense, of course, for athletes who need power in their activity. It's not only strongmen, it's athletes who need power in playing sport, it's athletes who need power in contact sport, and for sure Olympic weightlifting will not destroy you if you have structured training process. So it can't be random. Olympic weightlifting should be incorporated into basic training program. Your strength coach should communicate with your main coach, and you should know what is the period of preparation. So it will work only if you have like professional or semi-professional athlete. In other ways, it just don't make sense, and this is also true. For sure, Olympic weightlifting will not help you if it's beginners, if you don't have time, or if it's just person with a low coordination. This is also true. Sometimes these people exist, and for these people, just trap bar deadlift, just simple back squats will be very good solution. So this is advanced tool that give you advanced result, but for this you need to invest time and to be skilled enough. Also, I will repeat as a conclusion of this blog, to lift as much as you want in athletic training doesn't make sense. And this is also important to repeat again and again, because, for example, when you have team of 18 years strong boys, Of course, they want to compete and to prove who can do more weights. But this is not the goal if we don't want to have team of injured people, if we want to have team of strong people. Smart programming in this case, if we will speak about the long-term training, will be of course basic strength training. Squats, bench press, deadlift, incorporating plyometric drills, and only after year and a half of consistent training, we can start to introduce systematic Olympic weightlifting lifts. What progression, I will show you a little bit later. What common mistakes I can see very often during the working with athletes using Olympic weightlifting? Or coaches speak not enough, or they speak too much, and this is common in all training. Wrong loads. About this I will tell you a little bit later. Boring training, when people do year after year the same exercises and athletes just losing motivation because they need some variation from the mental state of training and of course from the state of adaptation, because if you do all the time only power clean, it just don't work for you no matter how heavy you lift. And copying. I see that Usyk doing Olympic weightlifting, I will do Olympic weightlifting also because yesterday, for example, he won, and this is cool stuff. But it doesn't work like this. Someone needs to help you with this. Now, very quick story. Famous coach from USA, Mike Gatton, he was famous because he coached Chicago Bulls in the golden era with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. He's still coaching, but National Olympic weightlifting team. I like his quotes. He said that a few times on the big podcast that when my players could do power clean 150 kilos, he speaks about the basketball players from Chicago Bulls. They never care who stood in front of them, who tried to stop them, who tried to do anything. They just went forward and won the game. Practical example, also his story that probably will be interesting for you as a coaches. In the era of 90th in Chicago Bulls, in NBA there were twin brothers. That's why this story is unique. So it's not different people, it's just twin brothers. Harvey Grant and Horace Grant. You can see that they have different duration of the career. Harvey played 11 years. This guy played, his twin brother in the glasses, he played for 17 years, and you can see that the guy who played 17 years, he played in the teams like Chicago Bulls and Los Angeles Lakers, and also he had 4 NBA titles, and also he had way higher technical efficiency. One of the main differences between two of them, Harvey hated strength training. He was a good athlete, he was technician. Horace was super fan of Olympic weightlifting. I'm not trying to say that the reason that he became legendary only with Olympic weightlifting, but this is what Mike Gatton tells every time. The big guy in the glasses could do power clean also, 130 plus kilos, and you can see that he's super tall gentleman doing power clean from the floor. That is why he was unstoppable for some reason. It's just a practical example. Speaking about the exercises, what actually we use and I recommend to use as a part of strength and conditioning training in athletic training, not in Olympic weightlifting. We have 5 groups of exercises: snatch, clean, jerk, and variation of pulls and squats. Snatch, what is this? When we lift the bar from the floor in overhead position in one instant movement. And the common variation that's probably smart to use in athletic training, muscle snatch, when we move the bar from the floor without explosion, only with our muscles, because we definitely need to train. Power snatch, when we catch the bar in almost standing position, and hang snatch, when we hold the bar in the air, when we don't lift it from the floor. Earlier I said that for athletes, when we do something from athletic position, will be way more efficient than from the floor. And also when we have a period of training, when we need to build a volume, so to do more reps, to create more stress and adaptation, we can use complexes. It's when we combine few exercises. For example, it can be snatch and then overhead squats. We will do more reps with less weight, and this is how we will build not only power but also performance. Where snatch can be beneficial for us when we coach athletes? A very quick answer: in the sports when we need to hold arms here and when we need to react with the arms explosively and have a stability. In modern training, it mostly will be basketball, tennis. I saw with my eyes, and I was super impressed when I was in Netherlands Olympic Training Center when it was basketball national team doing snatch with like 70-90 kilos. It's a lot for tall guys, and this is cool result. Here we can have example of explosive training of the throwers. When guy performs snatch and after this he throw the ball, so it's contrast training here. And this is a very specific sport pullover also, which not good for normal people. He use first pullover with the heavy weights and after this he throw the ball. But once again, it's a good example that it's used in practice if we want to build strong and efficient sport machines. Clean variation. Maybe this will sound for you very funny, but this guy, he is Olympic champion in BMX. So just riding a bicycle, la 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 la. But we can see that he is doing clean 120 kilos. Why? Because during his competitive activity, when he run the bike as fast as possible in the forest, his joints and body must be strong to resist. That is why this is smart approach of the elite Netherlands athlete. And again, as I said, variations such as muscle clean when we just use muscle strength, power clean when we catch the bar as high as possible, or hang when we hold the bar and then do an explosive movement to increase time under tension, it will be a good option. Where we can use clean exercises, probably it will be contact sports, hard contact sports such as American football and rugby. Very likely wrestling, cycling, because in cycling we use this position as well as our working position, and mixed martial arts because it's contact sport when you need brute strength and power reaction. Jerk variation, when we send the bar in overhead position. Probably you know this guy. I was coach of Alexander Usyk back in 2018, and this is the thing that he did. Now Polish nation can be lucky because he has a very good strength and conditioning coach from Poland, Kuba. I believe he is from Katowice. And a lot of variation moving the bar from our shoulders in overhead is very beneficial in sports when we should learn how to transfer power from our legs to any object or to our upper body. And here we can have option power jerk when we send the bar and jump. We can do split jerk when we send the bar and split our legs. And also we can use different complexes during this training when we can combine, for example, squats and then adding a jerk. And as I said, this is also a very useful tool in most sport in progressive training approach. Where it can work: throwing sports, shot put, javelin, American football where we need nice ground reaction, and for sure combat sports. What I can say from my practice that for most athletes, for 90%, just push press and push jerk when we send the bar without moving our legs will be enough. But in the same time, we can see here Olympian from Ireland, shot putter who do jerk behind the neck, 210 kilos. It's crazy for 5 reps. Or Ukrainian strongman doing 240 kilos in overhead position. They don't use this exercise in strongman competition, but in the same time as a training tool to produce or train transfer power from the leg to overhead, it works very well. Pulse variation or deadlift with explosive finish. Main difference between deadlift and pull, that in deadlift our task is just to stand straight. In pull, our task when we finish, add explosive movement from our legs and let the bar fly. And as I spoke in the beginning, for most athletes, mid-thigh position, when we hold the bar higher or put it on the block, will be the best. Snatch grip, it's wide grip. narrow grip, it's clean grip. Depending on the grip, we will engage more or less our lats and upper back. Here we can see again Alexander Usyk doing 105 kilos clean pull back in 2017, I guess. And you can see it's not just a trap bar deadlift, but explosive movement where he is trying to produce power from his legs, no matter that most people think that he works only with his arms. But to be powerful, you need to be explosive. What I will say about the pulls, if we have limited amount of knowledge or skills as a coach, probably I will say that pulls will give you 80% of benefits with 20% of risk. This is the place to begin, how to develop the power. And we can see that pulls are used very widely in sprinting, in soccer, and in most weight category sports. Squat, in all variation, in all sport, in my opinion, it's a base, it's a foundation. Here's the example of option that we can use. Back squat, front squat, using different tempos, when we can go slow down, explosive up, when we can do pause to work more with eccentric, but this is the exercise that you have to use anyway if you want to be safe and injury-free. As a conclusion, if you want to have strong and injury-free athletes, probably squats will be a foundation always and always before you do anything else. So in weight room, it will be your exercise number one. How to avoid injury? Of course, train smart and have a good programming and using the definition that I will explain now, that's called lift ratios. When we know what should be difference and connection between different exercises to make athlete first strong and then explosive. So for example, it's a quick ratios that most strength and conditioning coaches should know. For example, if my goal is to snatch, I will give you simple numbers. If my goal is to snatch 100 kilos, I should be able first squat 160 kilos. Because if I will not be able to do this, my joints, my ligaments just will not endure this load. Same about the relation between clean and jerk exercises and back squat. If I want to clean 100 kilos or jerk 100 kilos, I should be able to squat 140 kilos. Because before doing something explosive and aggressive, I need to build a base. And a lot of coaches, they just don't know and don't use this ratio, and they said, okay, I saw that. Power clean, it's cool, let's do power clean. And then knee, back, and people say Olympic weightlifting is bad because it kills my athletes. But first of all, as we spoke a few slides before, fundamentals in basic strength training. And also as a proof about relation between Olympic weightlifting and injuries, it's modern statistics that say that even professional Olympic weightlifting is far away from killing sport. We have sports that can give you a lot of chances to visit surgery or therapies than Olympic weightlifting, and a lot of statements that it can say that if you have a good coach, probably you will have low rates of injuries in any ages. Same as Olympic weightlifting is safe if you have good programming and if you have a good coaching and the most important, proper recovery. Conclusion of this block: weightlifting is just a tool that you can apply if you need it and if your athletes are ready for this and if training program of these athletes can fit Olympic weightlifting. Priority for athletic training: working from athletic position. You don't need to go from the floor. There is no need to waste time on this. You can, but there is no need. And of course, smart programming. And now, real question. This is all very funny, but what is my plan for Monday? Okay, I'm ready to push my athletes for Olympic weightlifting. What should I do? And this is a good question. So let's speak about. I already showed you enough of practical cases, but let's dive more. Mostly strength and conditioning in semi-professional and professional sport will be in off-season 3 times per week, and season 1 time per week, but this is the most common program that we can see as a block system. And what we need to see here, let's look at the second part, that probably during our week training, we need to do at least one time squats, we need to do at least one time something for upper body, and we need something looks like a pull. And for example, if we don't use snatch for some reason but use only clean, probably we will do like a clean, upper body jerk and clean. And if you do only 2 training sessions per week, you can do this like on week number 1, and week number 2 you can do session number 3 and come back to the training number 1. This is very common structure. I saw it in a lot of colleges in USA, in American football, in baseball, in basketball. This is the common structure. And now we will look on it in details. Speaking about the loads, because it's also a question like how many reps, how many sets and so on. Usually if we speak about 3 main qualities that we are looking for the athletic training, we look for the speed, for the power, or combination of speed and power, and as a base we look for the strength. So for speed, usually we use, let's say, light weights, and it will be good range from 4 to 6 reps. When we develop power, we use from 2 to 4. If we do speed power training, it will be usually something from 3 to 6 reps. This is absolutely normal approach. And if our goal just to make stronger athletes on a good level, we will use heavy for them weight, because for someone heavy it's 200, for someone 70, but it's supposed to be heavy, and we do for the small amount of reps. This is classical. I'm sure I didn't impress you with this, but I just need to repeat this. And in short, if our task is speed, this training is supposed to be light for athletes. He should have ability to move weight fast. It is impossible to move weight faster than 1.6 meters per second. If it's heavy, you will just will not be able. That is why coach need to scale and adapt. For power, it will be moderate weights, and if we need to make these people stronger, they need to suffer. There is no way to make people strong if they don't lift heavy. But for this, they must be ready in advance. So don't be afraid, I will show it in detail now, but this is how usually will look basic strength and conditioning training in most American schools. I will show every day in details now, but what we will see here, 3 workouts, and in the week number 1, 2 and 3, different loads, and usually week number 4 will be deload or tapering for recovery. This is what we need to see now. Now let's look at the day number 1. Usually in the beginning of each session will be circuit activation training, where we will engage core, when we will engage main joints just to prepare lifter for this session. And after this we will have from 3 to 4 exercises in one training. What we can see here in the week number 1, we will see mid-thigh power clean. So from the mid-thigh power clean, usually it's 3-4 sets up to 4 reps, because we're trying to develop our speed and power. After this we will have bench back squat, also not to work in the full range of motion. There is a bench, I do half squat, and after this we will probably do box jump, just to emphasize. Also box jump sometimes we can put in the beginning of the session. The younger athletes, the earlier we should have simple explosive exercises. By the end of the session, accessory. In the training number 2, when we train upper body, it will be activation box jump with the dumbbells. After this we will have lined mine jerk, the things that Ronaldo and Usyk likes very much when we do explosive jerks. After this we can do asymmetry bench press with the different weights on the bar, just to engage our core and work more on stabilizers. And RDL just for back line. And workout number 3, it can be options or mid-thigh power clean or Bosch clean. If you don't know what is Bosch clean, it's very common in track and field running exercises when we do same power clean, but we can put a box in front. So we do power clean and step up. Very common and popular exercise for the runners, especially when they do hurdles. After this, explosive mid-thigh clean pull, or it can be asymmetry deadlift, again with the trap bar or with the bar with uneven weights to challenge our stabilizers. And we can see that there is no too much of heavy weights. In this training you don't see heavy. Medium load, challenging, and of course we need to do tapering because we do this in athletic training, not to kill people but to improve their explosiveness and power. So practical rules for this. Of course our athlete who do not Olympic weightlifting but different sports will not have perfect technique because it's not their job, but their technique must be appropriate. Means being able to hold core tight, being able to feel balance, being able to do full or let's say triple extension. This is what we need to follow as a coaches, and in this training speed will be always priority. If we see that athletes are not able to hold good position for technique or being able to move the bar fast, probably we need to drop the weights or make the load lighter, because as I said in the beginning, make people just that, it's not our goal. It's a lot of fun for coaches, but this is not our goal. And of course, variable training and progression, it's a key to any training program. Just a quick conclusion, what we should use where. Meanwhile, Netherlands two-time Olympic champion doing clean from mid-thigh position, 150 kilos. If we need speed, probably snatch exercises. If we need power, probably clean exercises. If we need force transfer in any direction, probably it's a jerk exercises. Max force and strength, pulls and squats. And pulls and squats will be in the beginning of our journey always priority, because without pulls and squats we can't move further. I am sure with this I will not impress you. And as a conclusion, Olympic lifts itself don't build athletes, only smart application. So we need to do in which sport, why we need this, consult with a specialist, use it smart, practice. In this case we will have a success. I don't know if you visited a few months ago in Krakow, it was a big conference and strength and conditioning conference, and one of the headliners was Christian Bazet. He worked with the national German team and Netherlands team, and I decided to finish my presentation with his quote, because most of the video that we had today of from elite athletes he shared with me. So his quote sounds like this, and I would like to read it for you. That there is no Swiss Army knife, multi-tool, yeah, in strength and conditioning, because any exercise can do everything for every athlete and every sport. So there is no bad or wrong exercises if you are smart enough as a coach. And you always need to look at the demands of the sports and needs of athlete. But the Olympic lifts and their derivatives are the closest to that Swiss Army knife. I, as Olympic weightlifting coach, believe in this. It's also because modern and classical science and a lot of advanced coaches use this, so I'm just happy to share this information with you. Reference to all that I said, once again, it's not just my opinion, it's opinion of modern science. I'm grateful very much for your attention. This is my first debut in the Polish field. That is why dziękuję bardzo i do zobaczenia.
Dziękuję.